Do you want to get better at backgammon? One of the best ways to do it is by practicing against software such as Extreme Gammon or XG. There are a lot of useful tools and features that will help you learn and improve. And in this video, my good friend Pete Jarvis joins me to do just that. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe and be notified every time I upload a new video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, what you'd like to see in future videos, and I'll work on it. If you love backgammon, you can become a member of this channel, giving you exclusive access to the most popular videos. My book, Backgammon Backgame Strategies, is available. There's a link in the description where you can get it. And if you're interested in lessons, please contact me via email. My email address is also in the description. Again, in this video, it's my great pleasure to welcome back my good friend, Pete Jarvis. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Alex.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well.
Great. It's always a pleasure to see you. How's everything been? How's the North Jersey Backgammon Club doing?
It's trucking along. There's always new people coming in. It seems like we get some new ones, lose some, get some, lose some. But I'd say over the long haul, it's slowly growing.
That's great. A lot of people are trying to grow their own backgammon clubs. What's the way that most people seem to find your group?
Most of them seem to find it from a Facebook group page,
Oh, good.
and then word of mouth. There's a lot of people who are members of the club who have brought in friends and spread the word.
Yeah, social
That's
media
probably
is the thing.
the best way.
The word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. It's great. It's a great social game. You get to meet people. It's fun. You learn, you think.
Yeah, it's great. We have a lot of fun with it. There's no doubt.
Great. Congratulations on all of your work. Wishing you continued success.
Thank you.
All right, in this video, we're playing an unlimited game session. We're playing on a beautiful FTH board. I call it the Halloween board with the black and orange colors. The XG board is made by Rain. He makes beautiful XG boards. There's a link in the description to where you can get it. Pete, you'll be playing the orange checkers at the bottom, XG, the white checkers at the top, bearing off on the right. So since it is unlimited, there's the Jacoby rule and beavers and raccoons. Are you familiar with the Jacoby rule?
Yes.
Okay, so for the viewers, I'll just explain it so they know. It means gammons and backgammons do not count unless the cube has been turned. So you double a little bit earlier in general. Again, the most important thing is to have fun. Number two, to learn. You're welcome to consult with me, and the final decision is up to you. Here we go. All right, so white opens with a 4-2, makes the point, and now 3-2.
1311 and 1310.
Okay, what would be your second choice?
Probably 2422 and 1311.
Okay, so it's 1310. So what do you like about 1311 more than 2422?
I didn't feel a need to split 24 quite yet, and I thought it was just nice to bring another checker into the zone and have more builders.
Okay, very good. So we'll do that, and now double 4. That's going to make the 9 point and the 20 point. Okay, now 6-4.
I would go 10-4 and 8-4.
Make the 4 point. Okay, very good. And if you were white, would you double here?
No.
No? Okay.
Would you?
Yeah, it looks like XG is doubling. But we'll take a look at it. I mean, it's a strong position. It's got the best advanced anchor, 2 interboard points. You have 2 checkers back. There's a blot to shoot at. White is leading in the race.
Yeah, I mean, all that makes great sense.
Okay, so would you like to take or pass? I assume you're not going to beaver.
I would probably take it.
Okay, we'll take it. 6-2 makes the bar point. Doesn't hit there. Okay. Now double 4 for you.
24-20 twice and then 2016 twice.
Yeah, what a great roll. That just got the back checkers out all the way. Now you're ahead in the race by 17. 5-2. Okay. And now you want to continue rolling, right?
Yes.
Okay. 4-2.
Here's 1311 and 6-2.
Okay. Would you consider like making the 9 point like this?
Oh, I just didn't see it. Of course, it's a much better, much better.
I don't know. I mean, I think the issue here is like after either of those plays, whether you do this or you do this, what happens is all of your outfield points are stripped, right? So
Right.
Michi calls these islands, and what happens is the next time you roll a 6, something's got to give, right?
Yes.
So if you don't roll a good 6, then you might leave a blot, but either way, it's the same thing. So, I mean, there has to be other things that you consider. So, like, I don't know, what would be your next objective, like after this roll? What would you like to do next in terms of your position? I mean, given you're ahead in the race by 10, and then after the roll, it'll be 16. You've got both of your checkers out, and white still has his 3 checkers here. So what's kind of your game plan here?
Uh, I don't feel like I have a certainly a priming. So I can't really answer that. I wish I could.
So there are 4 major strategies to win, right? Priming you mentioned. The other ones are racing, just bringing everything home, and then there's blitzing or attacking, and then the final one is contact when you don't have any advantage there. So here, of course, as you mentioned, you're not priming because the opponent has the advanced anchor. You're not blitzing, and because you have your checkers, your back checkers out, you're not trying to keep contact. You really want to win in the race, right? So when you want to win in the race, you want to just bring everything home. And in general, you like to clear from the rear. So you try to break this point next, right? So is it easier to break the point after this or after this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I guess the 11 point gives you a landing spot for the 16 points. So if you roll like a 5-3,
yeah,
good. But at the same time, when you make the 11 points, this is 6 away from the anchor, and that becomes the hardest one to clear. So you may not want to make that point in the first place.
and
So
probably necessary. Oh, sorry, excuse me.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I've been terribly relevant at this point. I was also thinking when I was making 11 and then trying to unstack the 6 a little bit so I don't get everything.
Yeah.
That was the first reason I said that. I thought it was nice to make that point and we'll unstack a little. But
Okay, we can try this one, or we can try the other one. Up to you.
I'm sorry, Alex.
We can try either one. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll just try that.
This one. Okay.
Yeah, that's what
All right.
um
3-1 makes the point, and then slots. And now still got to roll, right?
yes.
Okay. Okay, 5-1.
Oh, there. That's what you were.
This is what I was talking about. It's not a 6 on one die, but it's a
we were
combination
talking.
of 6.
Um, I well, there's nothing that looks particularly attractive.
I know.
Um, I'm a little bit of a loss.
Well, what are your options for the five? What are all the legal options?
Okay. 16 to 11, 13 to 8, 8 to 3, 6 to 1.
There's also 11 to 10. Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So again, if you play off any of the outfield points, you're going to leave a blot, right?
Yes.
Um, this is the only way you're not going to leave a blot. So the question is, how costly is it to get hit if you leave a blot?
Very.
Very. And why? What's the reason for that? Well, you're well up in the race, so you don't want to lose that. And then you're against the 3-point board versus the 2-point board. So you'd be an underdog in a hitting exchange. So
Right.
that kind of narrows it down to the five. You've got to play safe. So if you're going to do that, what then the only ace would be like 2 to 1 making the point, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do that. Now 4-2. Okay, still building the board. Okay. Double two. Okay.
So 16, 14 twice. It's another not especially great. Uh, I guess 13, 11.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is I think I like this play because a lot of people would just try to bring this and then bring this closer so that you're not blocked by the sixes. But then you have that same problem with the islands again here. And a lot of your numbers are going to be kind of duplicated because these two are 1 point apart and these two are 1 point apart. So, but when you do this and then you do this, these two spares will give you mobility. So even though the six is blocked, if you roll any six next, you're good because okay, a double six is blocked here, but then you bring these home. But any other six, well, 6-5 will be a little bit awkward. But 6-4, 6-3, 6-2, and 6-1, you can play off here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was thinking there probably isn't at this point in the game that much of a difference between having the 14 or the midpoint.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Right. You have these two landing spots. Yeah.
I didn't think that hurt me in your outfield too much.
Right. Okay. Now 3-2. Okay. So now up by 15 in the race. You want to start thinking about doubling.
Yeah, I was gonna last. I would double here.
You want to redouble. It's a redouble now.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So what are the aspects of the position that make you want to redouble?
Uh, just about everything is in my zone, and I'm just gonna leave the ones on 14 till I can get them in the zone safely. I think, and I'm winning, and having those spares on 11, I don't know. I think I'm in a position to just set myself up nicely. And I like the fact that you're kind of trapped. And I think I'm going to try and build the 10 and the 9 and so forth.
Okay. And then would you take as white?
Um, Probably.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Redouble and take. Okay. 6-3.
You were just talking about if I had 6-2, 6. Um, so I would go 14, 11 and 14, 8.
Yeah, that's a great roll. You just clear everything. Good.
Hoping to be able to do that was why I redoubled.
Yeah. All right, and now 4-1. Okay,
11, 7, 8, 7.
great. That creates another landing spot. Fantastic. 4-1. Oh, that's interesting. Didn't make the point. 3-1.
I'd go 11 to 7.
Yeah. Double 5. Okay, so that caught up a lot in the race.
Sure.
So now I'm only up by 4. Double 2.
So I would go 11 to 5 and 7 to 5.
All right. So one of the things here, now the race is closer and it's minimal contact because there's just one point of contact, right? So I tell people backgammon is easy to learn but hard to master. The winner's the one who bears off faster. So your goal now is going to be to bear off all your checkers first. But before you bear them off, you must bear them in, right? So this gets 2 crossovers here. The other option would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that gets 4 crossovers in, putting the checkers in a nice place. And you're not really worried about this contact right now, like when it was up here. That's the other thing that I would look at. What do you think?
Yeah, I would, in retrospect, I agree with you completely.
Okay, so which play would you prefer?
Um, the one you had said,
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, very good. All right, 4-2. Now 5-1.
11 to 6 and 8 to 7.
3-2. Again, now you have a 7-pip lead, so you want to try to break contact like that.
11 to 7 and 11 to 6.
Yeah. Okay, double 2. Now 6-3, so gets 2 in like that.
Yes.
Okay. The other option would be to play like this, which kind of fills things in, but I
I
don't think
was
it's ridiculous.
thinking your thought of just getting them in.
Yeah, yeah, get them in. Okay. All right, 5-1. So I'll do this part kind of on autopilot. 5, and then how do you like the 2?
Uh, I always get a little. I would probably go 4-2,
Or 2? Okay.
just so that there's more points that have a checker on them, at
Right.
least one
Okay, so double 5-1, and then 1, 2, 3. Double 4, 5-1. So yes, you got to play like that. 2-1. Catching up in the race. 6-4. That's a good roll. Double 6. Lots of doubles here.
Great roll.
5-4. Okay, so now would you double as white?
Did you say what a double is? White?
Would you double if you were white in this position? Redouble.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
So now
I would. I would pass.
yeah. All right, now I'll analyze the first game. So after the 4-2, it's actually better to split the back checkers rather than bring 2 down. This is something you'll find against like an opening 4-2. You want to split the back checkers and bring 1 down. And also against the 3-1, you want to do the same thing. And against the 5-3, you'll split the other way. but against a 6-4, I think it's correct to bring two down. So
Huh.
these things occur all the time. So let's say it was a 6-4 like that, and now you have a 3-2 to play. Now what's happening is because white made the deep point, uh, it's not a great priming structure, so you don't have to split. You don't have to split as urgently. Additionally, you're further behind in the race. This was a 10 pip roll with a 6-4, and now with 5, you're behind by 5 in the race. So here's where you want to bring two down. And then just to contrast it with the 5-3, here it's actually right to split.
Huh.
So that's a good one to know because these occur all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the 6-4, this was the right play to make the 4 point. The other option was to make the bar point like this. It does make a blocking point, but it's not a great blocking point because it's only blocking 2 away. Further, it strips the midpoint, and that's particularly weak when you have 2 checkers back. And the other thing this does is it makes a second inner-board point to match the opponent. Okay, and then the double. So this was a small double. So what you were thinking about is like, what makes this a double? So we kind of looked at it. I guess. Are you familiar with the acronym PRAT? PRAT.
No.
So it stands for position, race, and threats, right? So those are the kinds of things you want to look at when you're making a doubling decision. So the position. So what's the position like? Well, first I look at the back checkers. You have 2 checkers back. White has 2 checkers back. However, these 2 checkers are on the best anchor. Yours are on the worst place. So that's an advantage. In terms of the outfield, white has an additional outfield point in terms of the 9 point. So that's good. And then there's a block here. Okay, so those are the aspects of the position. Basically, everything favors white. Okay, the race, well, that's simple, 7 pip race, so that's a little bit of an advantage to white. And the threats are to hit or to make another inner-board point or things like that. So lots of advantages there, but there's still a long way to go. That's what makes it a double. Okay. And then interestingly, with the 6-2, it didn't hit because it's an awkward 2, just makes the bar point.
Alex, I have a quick question. When you dove there and I took used it as a take, was that a reasonable take or should I have passed?
It was a very big take here. You can see that in the analysis.
I just want that doubling is still and taking often is whether to take or pass is still one of the many hurdles I got to get over. I find that I don't always make the best decision on that. It is so tricky.
Doubling is the most difficult thing. I mean, when you
Believe
think about checker play versus cube action, just about everyone, their checker play is better than their cube action because it's difficult. It's kind of abstract. One of the things I find is useful is to study with XG by modifying the position. So I'll copy this position with Control Shift C and go to another board and hit Control V to paste. It'll say the current game is not saved. Do you want to save it now? You say no. Okay, so now we have this position. Well, let's modify it to see if we can change something. So what if the bar point is made? Now this is stronger for white, right?
yes.
Okay, so then you hit the plus plus or whichever level of analysis. Look at that. So you can see down here, now it's 970. It's barely a take.
Huh.
So that indicates that in the original position, the fact that this bar point, the 7 point is open, there's an escape route for the back checkers.
Uh-huh.
So this is a 166 millipoint take. It's a big take. But if you start blocking that, now the position becomes much more powerful. Now, let's see, the wins are 71% for white, whereas here they're only 69%. So that's a couple extra percent. And then the other thing you can do is like modify it and now make the 5 point. Now would you take?
No.
No, now it's going to be a pass. Yeah, it's a very big pass. Look at that. Even though you have that six, the bar point is open to come out with sixes. Now that's just very powerful.
Yeah.
Uh, and then what if the opponent's structure here was weaker here, like that? Now it's barely, it's a no double. So this teaches you the key aspects of the position. Now, what if there wasn't a blot there? Now it's a very small double.
Hmm.
So this blot wasn't the big thing. So you're winning 68% here and then 69% here. So I find this is a great tool. The other thing you can look at is
Get
basically,
more using that. I don't take advantage enough of that tool.
yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. Like I play against XG like all day long, and that's what I do. Here's another thing that I do. Basically, you want to think about market losers. What are the sequences that are going to make it a pass? So what are the good rolls and what are the bad rolls for the opponent and then for you? So what you can do is, if you're on a cube action, is you can go to Analyze and then Dice Distribution. You'll see a pop-up window here. The first thing I do is I click the icon with the most red bars. That gives it a higher level of analysis, 4 ply for the first roll, 3 ply for the second roll, and then I click after double take. So this will give you all the data after double take. Now here there are 4 tabs: detail, graph, distribution, and dice map. For this purpose, I find the graph to be the most useful. So I click on this, and now you see a vertical bar graph. The first thing I do is I double click this area, and that just makes it a 2D graph. That's a little easier for me to see. So here you can see all the market losers. A market loser is when it's going to be a pass next. So the equity will be 1 or higher. So you see here, all of these ones that are 1 or higher include double 1, double 6, double 3, double 5, double 4, and 4-1. So a lot of these rolls, and then so you go and look at them. Okay, so and these lose the market, and then all the other ones, look, the equity here, you can see here, White's equity is going to be pretty good. It's going to be at least 0.5 in every scenario. But this is where you lose your market. So you go back and look at the position and you say, okay, so what does double 6 do? Wow, it does that, and then it can come out or make the bar point or make the 3 point. Double 1 is great. It makes the 7 point and the 5 point. So those are the things you want to think about. You want to think about what's going to happen in the next sequence. So those are two of my favorite tools in XG.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna become more familiar with those. I gotta do that.
this is a great way to learn and improve. Okay, so then the double 4 was a fantastic roll. You came out. And the 4-2, oh yeah, it did prefer this one, like we were discussing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the 5-1, it was not a good roll, but that was the best you could do of it. And then this one, yeah, again, you got it right. The other two were 13-11. So that was good. Now here, this was not quite a redouble. So I guess this extra point of contact. So here's what I like to do. Again, copy it and paste it onto a different board. Okay, so up by 15 pips. So let's just do this now. Now up by 17 pips, but there's a little less contact. Look at that. It's still a no double.
Uh,
Uh,
this was where I doubled you, right?
right. So what if, I don't know,
Well, intuitively, it just seemed
this and this.
it's not always the way to go, but intuitively, it just seemed like a good double. As I mentioned earlier, there were only
This it's
two.
this that's 6 away.
Excuse
So
me.
it's this point that's 6 away. So let's try moving it there and see how big a difference that makes. No, it's still, what if this were here? Now you're getting closer. Now look how close it is to a double. And then what if you do this? Yeah, now it becomes a double. So this is what I do. I do this exercise. I modify the position and see what changes I can make until it becomes a correct double. So now this is the position with a correct double. In the original position, this was on the 14 point instead of the 13 point. So now it's a little bit more contact. And also these checkers on the 11 have been moved to the 10. So it's not being blocked by the 6. And also there's a spare that has been moved. So there was a decent amount that needed to be changed. But that's great that we learned. Okay. Then the 6-3 was a great roll. Okay.
You lucked out there.
Yeah, and then 4-1 here. So let's see this here. You have to change it. And now, okay, so we bring the cube back here. Now would it be a double? No redouble. But what if it were an initial double? It might be an initial double. Yeah. So you see in this position, so after we rolled the 6-3 and the opponent rolled something else, if the cube were in the center here, this would be a correct double, leading by 20 pips. But if you own the cube, it's a small no double. There's a little bit of difference between sending an initial cube and sending a redouble. Okay.
I'm not clear on that yet. I gotta
So
sort that. I gotta come to terms with that. I don't
between
think
the
I understand that.
initial double and a redouble,
When you said there's a small difference between them, what I'm trying to see what would create the difference and
so there are two ways you can win in backgammon. You can win with the checkers by bearing off all your checkers first, or you can win with the doubling cube by doubling someone and having them pass, right?
yeah.
However, you can only double someone if you have access to the cube. So you have access to the cube either when it's in the center or when it's on your side. If it's on the opponent's side, they do not have access to the cube. Okay, so that's an inherent disadvantage, right? So when you own the cube, you have an additional inherent advantage because you have sole access to the cube. By giving up that sole access with the redouble, you're giving up additional equity by owning the cube. When the cube is in the center, you're not doing that because the opponent still has access to the cube. So
Uh,
so that's the difference. So you have to be a little bit stronger to redouble than send an initial double. And you can see that it's not a huge difference, but it's a difference. Okay, and then the 4-1, a lot of these were relatively straightforward. The 3-1 was clear. And the double 2, okay, so like this, what was the other one that you were looking at? 11-5, 7-5. Yeah, these were all close anyway. It doesn't matter.
that
Uh,
was what I did.
yeah, yeah. These were all close. When they're all within like 10 millipoints, it's not a big deal. Um, and then the 5-1, yep, this was the right play. And then the 5-4 you cleared. And then let's see, there was nothing. This one was the 4-2. These two were tied. And what else was there? Yeah, this was a pass.
Good. I'm
So
glad.
this is actually a good exercise. So
Great exercise. I gotta train myself to be able to do that exercise. Like it's starting to seem quite clear when you're talking through it. But if I was just sitting here on my own, I'm not sure I'd be getting quite as much out of that exercise. I just have to just
yeah,
do it and do it.
so this is a good exercise for you and for the viewers. So this is a position where each player has 4 checkers, right? So let's say you're on roll as orange. So you're going to be off at a maximum of 2 rolls, correct?
Yes.
But there is the potential that you're off in 1 roll with a double. Okay, so this is called a 2-roll position, 2-roll versus 2-roll, because the opponent's going to be off in a maximum of 2 rolls, right? So what's the only way that white can win? If you roll a non-double and white rolls a double,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
how many doubles are there? Well, there's 6. So 6 out of 36 is 1/6, right? So there's a 1 out of 6 chance that you'll roll a double immediately. That means there's a 5 out of 6 chance that you will not roll a double immediately, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what white needs is for you not to roll a double. So that's 5/6 of the time. And then white must roll a double after that. So that again is 1/6 of the time, right?
Yes.
So it's the product of those. It's 5/6 times 1/6. So that's 5/36 of the time. That's the winning percentage for white, which is 14%. So if you divide 5 by 36, it's exactly 13.89%. And that's too low. Okay. Now what happens if you add one checker to both sides? This becomes a 3-roll position, a 3-roll versus 3-roll. And this is a pass.
Huh.
White's winning percentage is higher because white's going to have 2 chances for a double, most likely. Okay. So now if we add a 6th checker, that's still the same. But if we add 2 more checkers, so now each player has 8 checkers, right? So there are 3 stacked on top of the 5. So they're 8 here and they're 8 here, and you can see 7 off. Now this becomes a double and a take because the winning percentage is a little bit less. Okay. The other thing,
Because you have more chances to roll the double.
because you have more chances. So the other thing is like we had like 6 versus 6. This is a pure 3-roll position. The position here was like this, right? So now there's a possibility that white rolls an ace twice, right?
Right.
So let's turn it this way so that here. So orange is on roll. I just reversed it. What happened here? Sorry. 6. Okay. There. Now it's a smaller pass. So this is a 32 millipoint pass because there's the possibility of 2 aces. But if you put it here, now it's 153 millipoint. That's a big difference, right?
There is.
Because what's the chance of rolling a non-doublet ace? Well, there's 10 out of 36. That's about 30% of the time, 28% of the time. And then you could do that a second time. So that just adds to your winning.
I would go 13, 11, and 24, 23.
Okay. Now 5-2. Splitting down. Now 4-2.
I would I would go 13, 11, and 24, 20.
Like
I know
this.
you could make the 4 point and that out of that.
Oh, make the 4-point.
No, I'm saying I think I would stick with what I had, but that was what I was, that was what I was considering my other option.
Oh, you were considering making the 4-point or making the 11-point and then stepping up.
I
Did
think that,
you consider the 9-point like this? This is another option.
yeah, no, I didn't consider it. I should have taken more time to look for that.
We have time.
As we were split, I was just kind of sort of anxious to get off the 24 point, and then it was just nice. I thought to make the 11, so it just kind of seemed like a fairly clean move. But the 9 is better.
9 is better. I feel like even better is just making the 4-point. When you can in early game, if you can make an interboard point, especially by unstacking the 6-point, that's really nice. And the fact that it's the 4-point rather than the 5-point, given that this checker is here, means that this is still a builder for the 5-point. So you have chances to make the 5-point next. Additionally, when you go up here, you're leaving the other checker on the 23-point, which is usually not a great place to leave it. Um, so those are all the things that I was thinking about. But what is your play that you prefer?
Well, you know, hearing your analysis of it, making the 4 point,
Okay, make the 4 point. There we go.
I
Now
think that's better.
five,
Is it? Yeah.
6-5. Yeah, 6-5 runs from the back, and now 5-1.
It's a fairly tricky one.
What are the options?
Uh, 13-8 and 24-23, but that doesn't seem of much value. The 11-6 and 24-23, just to kind of make, but then we lose the builder from 11, so that doesn't really work.
Well, you
And
look
11-6.
yeah, you look at two options for the five, so 13-8 and 11-6. So what would be all the other options for the one? You only mentioned like 24-23.
Uh, the 6-5 or the
Yep, yeah, 6-5. Yeah, I like that.
11-10 still doesn't
Yeah.
make a direct shot. Uh, And I mean, 23-22 is just because you said what are all the options. I don't think it
Yeah.
probably do that, but it's going to turn out to be the best one. Yeah, so I think that they're the options.
Okay. Which is the most appealing to you?
Probably 13-8 and 11-10.
Okay.
Just because the one on the 10, the checker on the 10 is still safe, and there's more builders, and got another one in the zone, and
Okay. So we'll do that. Let's see. Now 5-4. Okay. Running away. Okay. So now 4-1.
just make the 9.
Is there anything else you consider?
Uh, yes. Oh, and a better one, make the 5.
You can't make the five.
Uh, I was forgetting what wasn't on the 9. The 24-20, and then any number of the ones. Uh, 6-5. I think I would make the 9.
9. Yeah. Okay. So white is up by 7 pips, right? So what is white's game plan? Remember the four game plans: erasing, priming, blitzing, and contact. I mean, it could be more than one.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably guess either blitzing or priming would be like have a little bit of
Right.
opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, there are those options in the future and racing as well, right? So what is your game plan? Obviously, you're not priming, you're not racing, you're behind in the race, you're not blitzing. So the only thing is contact, right? So you want to keep these checkers kind of back to have control of the opponent's board. So you hit a shot. So if you ultimately hit a shot, you're going to want to contain it, right? So you're going to want to build your board, right? And the 9 point is in the outer board, it's not in the inner board. The other option would be to bring this down and slot the 5 point. Now, on your next roll, you have a very good chance of making the 5 point, having the best 3 point board. So that's another option to consider.
Yeah, that now seems like the best one, the best
Okay.
option.
So you like that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think yes.
All right. And if you were white, what roll would you want to get next? What would be a good roll?
Well, the 6-4,
Yeah.
uh, or the 6-1.
Yep. 6-1 makes the bar point.
Well, the 6-1, you could also hit me twice,
Hit you twice. Okay.
but I don't. Making the bar points probably a better option if that. So yeah, I think that's White's options.
And then white can also roll like a 3-1 to make the 5 point, a 4-2 or 5-3. Also, a lot of the doubles, like look at how double one plays. It makes the solid prime. Double threes are good. Double six is good. Double fours are good. Even double five is good. Basically, any double is good. Okay. So see, that's what white's trying to do, trying to build the blocking structure. Okay. Now double three
So
makes that. Okay. And now 3-1.
I would consider 24-21 and 6-5, just to try and get that back checker a little bit on the move, and then that seemed like a reasonable way to use the one.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so if you're white, like after
three
this, what point would you like to make as white next?
the 18
The 18? What about the 4 point?
or the 21.
Or the 21, yeah. So I guess the question is, do you want to be there if white rolls a combination of 6, 4, or 2, or even double three or double one?
No, that's
So
just
I guess
being
that
eventually.
rules out stepping up.
Yeah. So maybe then 8-5 and 24-23 or 10-9.
This
I'd probably end up doing that.
this 10-9. Okay, so we'll take a look. Now double.
I would pass.
Pass this one. Okay, now we'll analyze the second game. So with the 2-1, it has a slight preference of slotting like this, but it's not a big deal. This will win slightly more games. Are you familiar with the analysis panel over here in XG?
I get frustrated with it. I am a little bit familiar with it, but
So over here, it shows you the plays in the order. So 13, 11, 6, 5, which is what's showing here. And you click on the initial radio button to show you the initial position, or you can show the arrow, which will show you arrows. And you can also select final, which will show you the final position after the play has been made and the dice will become lighter. Now here it will show you the resultant equity, which is plus 11 millipoints, 0.011. If you make the second play of splitting, it's 4. So the difference is 8 millipoints. This comes out to 7. 11 minus 4 is 7, but because it's rounded, it's doing that. You could do an extra decimal for a place like that. Anyway, Underneath it, it shows you the winning percentage. So 50.6% for the top play versus 50.1%. Then you can see you win more gammons with 6 to 5, 14.2 versus 13.8. And those are the major ones. And then in terms of the losses, that's the equivalent of the wins, but you also lose more gammons here. So that's the difference. These are minor differences, but that's what you can look at when you're looking at those things. Okay. And then the 4-2 was, yeah, so this was the play, and then XG's second choice would be to make the 9 point like this, and then you were looking at this one, which results in this position.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
we kind of talked about that one.
yeah.
Okay.
And as you said, making the four was
Yeah, early in the game, if you can make an inner-board point, especially if you can unstack the 6 point, it's usually very good. I mean, with an opening 4-2, of course you make that. Um, and this is the same kind of thing.
find myself, now here, especially doing this in here with you, it's myself overthinking a little bit. I mean, I would normally just think. I'm not sure why I didn't just
Yeah,
make it.
it's difficult, but this is the goal is to learn, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so now with the 5-1, here it actually liked hitting. Look at that,
Hmm.
resulting in this position.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, so what let's see, what did we do here? Oh, we selected this one like this. So what's the idea behind hitting here? Like this. So these are some themes, like especially early in the game. In the opening position, you have these two checkers back, right? So a lot of the times you'll try to split the back checkers, and this has the advantage of providing better coverage of the opponent's board. You have a better chance to make an advanced anchor, like a 6-5 to make the 18 point, a 4-3 to make the 20 point, a 3-2 to make the 21, and even a 2-1 to make the 22. So, and then it also provides additional numbers to escape one back checker. Now, when you do have two checkers back, you are able to make an advanced anchor. However, with one checker back, let's say you escaped one, you lose that option. There is no possibility of making an advanced anchor because you only have one, right?
Yes.
So going back here to the original position, if there's a single back checker, you have more of an incentive to hit that checker because the opponent's not going to be able to come in and anchor. The second thing is you have a 2 point board versus a 1 point board. So you're going to be a favorite in a hitting exchange. Let's say orange is on the bar and on roll, right? Here, how many rolls do not come in for orange?
11. Is that right?
No,
Wait.
actually, only one because double six fails to
Yeah.
enter. But any other six will come in with the non-six, and then you could do something else. So that's a 1 out of 36 chance, right? But now the rolls that don't come in are double six, double four, 6-4, and 4-6. So there are four rolls that don't come in, right? So
Yes.
so going back to this position, orange has a 2 point board, white has a 1 point board. So what it's called is it's a relative the relative board strength is 2 to 1 in favor of orange. So if white is ever on the bar, there are four numbers that fail to come in. But if orange is on the bar, there's only one number that fails to come in. So that's four times as many. So that's a big advantage. So that incentivizes you to attack more. So that's the idea there. And
Yep.
then with the other half, you just step up. Yeah, these ones are tough to find. Yeah. Okay. And then the 4-1 was like this. Yeah, 13-9, making the 9 point was close, but you'd really want to make this point. So that was good. And then the other one is here. Okay, so in this position, it did like making the 5 point, but instead of 10 to 9, it actually preferred, oh, stepping up like this
Huh.
in this position. I guess it gives more outer board coverage.
Yeah.
Let's see over here.
Because yes.
24-21, 6 to 5 results in this position. And now you're on the next point, the exact next point that white wants to make. So that's dangerous. But after this play, you're on the next best point. And here on the 21 point, white can hit you with 2s from here, 4s from here, and 6s from here. But when you're back on the 22 point, these checkers do not reach them directly. So they're only 5s and 3s. So it's more safe to be on there, but it gives you better coverage of the 16 point.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, and then the final position here was the doubling decision. And this was actually a small double, but a comfortable take. So let's go back and modify it to see. So this was a 15 pip deficit. Well, what was your concern that made you want to pass?
Well, the deficit was certainly one, but I just thought I was gonna, you're in a blitzing position. I think you're just gonna keep hitting me, and eventually I'm just not gonna be able to get out of the escape.
Yeah.
So I was just fearing being trapped, and I ended
So
up, and
here what happens is like, so because this is a little awkward, there's only spares on this one. It's not quite as strong, but let's say we move the checkers here. So now it's a 14 pip lead. Okay, so now this is a very strong double. So let's go back to the original position. Here, white's winning chances is 71%. Here it shoots up to 74% where you move these around, and the equity is 965. It's almost a pass. But here, it's a very comfortable take. So when you're talking about blitzing, you want to have different checkers on different points to be able to hit. So like in this position, the only way white can make the 2 point on head with a non-double is with a 6-4. But in this position, now you could do it with a 6-4, 6-3, or 4-3. So that's many more numbers. And also point rolls that make this. So that's a key difference.
yeah,
And like, let's say you move these checkers on the 10 point to the 9 point. This is going to make the position stronger because now these checkers are also bearing on the 3 point. So you see that made it an 821. So now white's winning chances is 71% versus 70.55. So it increased it by a little bit. The other thing is, what if you move them to there? Now there's a 3 prime. Look at that. Now there's that blockade.
hmm
So this is actually a big difference. So like the original position was here, and then final position is here. But this gained an extra 2 pips. So let's give orange 2 pips more. Like that. But it's still a strong double. So you see now there's this blockade. So you can't move with 5s and 4s with either of these. So this becomes a 74% winning percentage, whereas in the original position it's only 71. What do you make of that?
yeah. It was that was, to be honest, coming at me pretty fast. I see it as, as you're saying that. One of my biggest problems with that stuff is I can't do it that quickly yet. Or I'm a long way from being able to do it that quickly. So I don't generally feel like in the course of a game, for me personally, I can think about a lot of that stuff yet because it's just the time is just not there.
Yeah, it takes practice. It takes practice. That's why I feel like this type of exercise on XG helps me so much because okay, so during the game, you don't know, you're thinking there's a limited amount of time, but with XG you have all the time in the world, and then you can modify the position. And when you modify the position and see all these differences, then the next time you play, you see that modification, you remember that modification, and you think about like how the roles would play. And we saw that this is a little bit awkward with this stack on the 6 point, and then the points in the outfield, if you make them a little bit stronger, that'll change things. And then the next time you think about it, you'll start thinking about it better. That's really one of the biggest benefits of practicing with XG. It takes time. You're not going to get it on your first time, but when you
Oh, that's
practice, it's
I don't
great.
mind putting the time. It's just that's a yeah. I understand that concept. Uh, trying to, I guess I'm trying to think how to make some of these conclusions we reach after a lot of discussion to be able to happen in a match. Where you don't have all the time and the be able to reposition it and so forth, modify it, and uh, so I guess I'm trying to figure out the balance of how to be able to. I get it when you go through it, but like I said, you just don't have 2 or 3 minutes to think about it in a match. It becomes so clear after you analyze it like this, but I just don't see them in the time frame allowed to make a move. So, like you said, it's just more practice, a lot more practice.
Yeah, you get better. You get better at it over
I got to
time.
more in XG.
I was watching a seminar by my friend Chris Bray, who's a top backgammon player from the UK. And one of the things he said is there's a book called, I believe it's Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And in it, he talks about 10,000 hours. So if you want to get good at anything, you need to spend 10,000 hours.
I'm
So
very familiar with that.
yeah, I mean, in my life, I've probably spent more than 10,000 hours playing backgammon, but it's going to take time. It doesn't take 1 hour, even 100 hours is not enough. That's like 1% of it. It takes time. You get better and better, and the more you practice it, the faster you get at these kinds of things. So it's just a matter of practice. So uh, that's good to know because it's just going to take time, and you'll get there.
Oh yeah, and the 10,000 hour concept. I'm very familiar with that, and yeah, I'm right on board with that.
Yeah. But I thought that was a good session. Uh, what are your thoughts about the two games that we played?
I have several. I probably do it to myself because not from you. I mean, certainly you're not in any way intimidating. That's just not your personality. But I don't know. In a situation, I guess coming from myself, I intimidated myself somehow. I was making mistakes that I know much better than to do that, and I don't think I would even make them. That's what's kind of confusing me over the board. I don't think just playing with somebody. I don't think I would make a lot of the mistakes. I know I wouldn't have made a lot of the mistakes I make in there, and I'm trying to move quicker. And now here with more time, that's when earlier I was saying I think I was overthinking some of these things. Uh, I I don't know. I have to think about it a lot more. What my reaction to that is. I actually have to think about it. But my gut instinct is I got to find a way to not intimidate myself because it doesn't come from you. So if I feel intimidated, it's definitely coming from me. So I got to find a way to get over that.
Well, that's the nice thing about this. I tell people the two most important things are number one, to learn to have fun, and number two, to learn. I feel like we accomplished that. And then especially in terms of the learning, uh, they say you can't learn if you don't fail. So it's like I look at every error as an opportunity to learn. So if you look at it that way, you go back and then you think about it, and if that's something psychological, you just keep practicing until you stop getting intimidated. Like I used to get intimidated when I was playing against a top player. Now, like when I play, I don't really care who it is. I'm just looking at the checkers. I'm just looking at the board. So it doesn't matter who it is. And then ultimately, you get to a point where you don't get intimidated by the opponent or by anything else. But also that's the nice thing about the um, consulting format where we're able to talk to each other
It's
and
great.
ask questions. So that's great. And I feel like we discussed some of the useful features of XG that will help you learn.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to make make more use of that. But it just I got to think a little bit about how to make some of the ridiculous mistakes I made on some things that I know much better than, and still get in this format and then make blunders that are just, I know better than them and I still do it. So I gotta come to terms with that.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is. That's the road to improvement.
Hmm.
It's a journey. It's a journey. Okay, great. It's always a pleasure to see you. Do you have any final comments to before we conclude?
No, I just want to thank you and let you know I make use of your YouTube channel all the time. I watch the videos on your channel constantly. They're great. So my closing comment: I appreciate the stuff that you're doing. Find it very useful and very generous of you with your time. So thank you.
Great. My pleasure. Thank you for your feedback. Glad you're enjoying them. Wishing you much success with the North Jersey Backgammon Club. We'll go ahead and conclude the video. Thank you to the viewers for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, what you'd like to see in future videos, and I'll work on it. If you love backgammon, you can become a member of this channel, giving you exclusive access to the most popular videos. Again, my book, Backgammon Backgame Strategies, is available. It's a link in the description to where you can get it. And if you're interested in lessons, please contact me via email. My email address is also in the description. I look forward to seeing you in future videos, and until then, keep rolling your dice.